Holmes. Yep. Yep. Where? I'll be there. All right, Ducky, what do we have?
He was found here late last night. I believe he's been murdered. He was stabbed 3 times. Right here, and right here. I don't know, Holmes. I think it was just a random act of violence.
No, this is something bigger. I want everyone that was at the scene at the police station for a full police lineup.
Okay, Detective Holmes. I've assembled everyone who can be linked to the scene of the crime.
Okay, it's an interesting group. I say we interrogate each one of them.
Okay.
Let's get it organized. What do we got, Ducky?
This is our first suspect.
What's your name?
Jenny Kang.
Where you from, Jenny Kang?
China. I'm a Chinese immigrant.
Okay, you got all these answers. Why don't you tell me this? Where were you in the 1920s?
Well,
Immigration Act of 1924 limited the number of immigrants allowed entry into the United States through a national origins quota. The Immigration Act also included a provision excluding any alien entry who by virtue of race or nationality was ineligible for citizenship. As a result, the 1924 Act meant that even Asians not previously prevented from immigration, the Japanese in particular, would no longer be admitted to the United States. Many in Japan were very offended by the new law, which was a violation of the Gentleman's Agreement. The Japanese government protested, but the law remained, resulting in an increase in existing tensions between the two nations. The quota provided immigration visas to 2% of the total number of people of each nationality in the United States as of the 1890 national census. It has completely excluded immigrants from Asia. When President Coolidge signed it into the law, he declared America must be kept American. Nativism embraced white Americans with older family trees over more recent immigrants and rejected outside influence in favor of their own local customs. Nativists also stoked a sense of fear over the perceived foreign threat. Following the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia in November 1917, the sense of an inevitable foreign or communist threat grew among those already predisposed to distrust immigrants. And that is why you can't frame me for this murder.
Okay, Detective Holmes. Here's our second suspect.
What's your name?
You know who I am. I'm Marcus Garvey, a black nationalist.
Pull up the file.
Okay, Marcus. It says here you started the UNIA. Is that true?
Damn right it's true. Alright, well why don't you tell me where you were in 1920?
Well, time of the murder, I believe I was hosting a parade in Madison Square Garden to celebrate the first international convention of the Universal Negro Improvement Agency. I started this organization to uplift Black Americans and to inspire self-reliance. The black skin is not a badge of shame, but rather a glorious symbol of national greatness. It is my belief that Black Americans will forever be a minority in America, and the only way for us to achieve true emancipation is to go back to Africa. Of course, there are other agencies that are currently working to defend civil rights as well. For example, the ACLU, which was founded recently, is dedicated to defending and preserving the individual rights and liberties guaranteed to every person in this country by the Constitution and laws of the United States. Right now, they are focused on protecting freedom of speech and limiting censorship in America. Another group that is involved in protecting civil rights that formed recently is the Anti-Defamation League. This organization is primarily focused on restoring the good reputation of Jewish people and to resist anti-Semitism and other forms of bigotry. For example, they are currently working with President Woodrow Wilson to fight back against anti-Semitic beliefs of Henry Ford that were published in his newspaper, the Dearborn Independent. Anyway, I have an alibi for the night of the murder, so you should focus on other suspects.
What do we got, Ducky?
This lady here is our third suspect.
Alright, who are you?
My name is Avery Patenbury.
Alright, why don't you tell us your relationship to the victim?
Well, he was my husband.
Well, I'm sorry to bring you here on such unfortunate circumstances, but we still have to interrogate you. Why don't you tell us where you were in the 1920s?
Well,
Women in the Roaring Twenties were different than the women before the Roaring Twenties. We liked to dress up as flappers in scandalous clothing, but we also wanted to fight for equal rights. We created a group called the League of Women Voters, which began as a military political movement, but boosted into a force to help women use their new power to help shape public policy. During the 1920s, I was also fighting for the equal rights movement, which states, "Equality of rights under the law shall not be abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex." We also fought for an increase of jobs and education for us, as we wanted to have equal rights to our husbands. Us women also lacked any legal protection against discrimination. We made striking gains in the workforce compared to previous generations. There were job opportunities such as entertainment, white collar, farming, and others that helped us get somewhere in society. We pushed for a progressive movement in education, and we achieved a lot of improvements. We also helped with the birth control movement, which became a respectable, non-radical reform cause, the recipient of large grants from big business, with our rights secondary to an overriding concern with medical health and population control. This transformation was achieved through professionalization of birth control movement, that is, it's taken over by professional experts, almost all male, in place of the radical amateur woman, fighting for their own interest, who initiated it. So I could not have been the murderer of this mystery because I was pushing for the Cable Act, which was an independent citizenship for married women.
Even though Ducky isn't here, I'm still gonna interrogate you. What's your name?
My name's Hiram Wesley Evans.
What is this? What's with the suit?
I was on my way to a KKK convention.
Alright, then in your file it says you're also a dentist?
Well, the KKK doesn't pay well.
Okay, I see. Well, why don't you tell me, what were you doing in the 1920s?
Well, In the 1920s, I heard of a Dallas chapter of the Ku Klux Klan, and I was sold. I left my dental practice to devote all my time to the Klan. I was ambitious and worked my way up from recruit to Kleagle, all the way up to Great Titan. I was very good at recruiting and ended up making the biggest Klan chapter in the nation. One thing that sparked my popularity was my alleged involvement in the kidnapping and torture of a black bellhop and the alleged castration of a black doctor. These, of course, were just silly rumors. I even publicly condemned violence to my fellow clanmates to help us get involved in politics. But some people say I secretly supported them and continued the old Klan's violent ways. This, of course, was also untrue. After becoming Imperial Killgrap, I swindled that old fool William Simmons into giving me full power and became Imperial Wizard. As Imperial Wizard, I pushed for nativism and white nationalism. The Klan supported many politicians on the left and right of politics, and we grew up to 6 million members, ranging from the entire country. Boy, was that a great time to be alive! Except for that rotten judge from North Carolina. Henry Grady was mad about me for cutting him in the chain of command. He killed many laws we proposed, so I kicked him out of this great Klan. But it didn't matter. We kept growing and supported Calvin Coolidge for president. Although he wasn't perfect, at least he didn't condemn us. And boy, was it sweet when he won. We were riding high, and I was even on the cover of Time magazine. So you see, I was much too busy making headlines to kill anyone, and I condemned violence. Remember?
Alright, bring him in. Well, after reviewing the files, it's clear to me who committed this murder. Although I don't think this person is being completely honest with who they say they are. Kieran Wesley Evans? Who are you really?
Ducky! I'm sorry, boss.
That's all, folks.